Last time I drove up from Durango to Silverton on the $1 Million Highway. A spectacular ride, one that I highly recommend. I drove through Silverton into Middleton, an old ghost town, now abandoned and just a flat pasture. So this is day 3 in Middleton, Colorado, the old town site of Middleton. I believe it was founded in the 1890s to support several mines up in a couple of gulches here, and it quickly folded soon after it was founded. But anyway, I was camped here yesterday and saw some of my fellow campers, four-wheelers, ride up this trail here that leads up the side of the mountain and switches back and then goes up that gulch. That is Maggie Gulch, and there's one really cool site still up there, and I'll add that video. But today I am gonna go up Minnie Gulch, which is probably less than a half a mile down this road here and up into that gulch. And apparently there's an old boarding house and some remnants of tramways used to transport ore down the mountain so it could run out on the rail car. But short trip. Yesterday I did Poughkeepsie Gulch, wore me out. It was fun, and I'm glad I did it, but damn, that's some gnarly shit. And I went down it, and to think that years ago I tried to go up it on the V-Strom, I think they would have found my skeleton and rusted frame in a ditch somewhere. So the day before, I did roll up to Maggie Gulch, and this Maggie Gulch was just right across from where I was parking, and I was parking in the old township of Middleton, an old town that serviced the area miners. But just right across the street. I didn't even know it was that close to it. But I was camped in Middleton because, hey, it's free camping, and it's part of the BLM system, and it's a small, 2 or 3 acres, not a big spot. And I think a lot of four-wheelers typically camp there, four-wheeling, ATV type guys. But spectacular drop-off back there. Anyway, the camping spot, 2 or 3 acres, but it is prime location. The closest camping is probably a mile from that area, and I think it starts at about $50 a night. So if you want to come do your own thing, and of course you got to bring your own bathroom, bring your own supplies, water, all that stuff. But spectacular camping. And so we're rolling up the old Maggie Gulch here, and I'm on a motorcycle as per typical. And if you guys like motorcycling or want to learn more about it, leave a comment. If you think motorcycling sucks and you just want to learn more about Skoolies and traveling and adventure, please leave that comment too. I kind of want to know what you guys are interested in. I'll try to provide more of that as we go along. I've got quite a few more months of videos to put up, so let me know what you think, and if you got any things that you want to suggest that I cover, I'd love to do that too. But we're getting to the top of Maggie Gulch here, and there is a camper truck, like a pickup truck with a camper on the top up here. It was quite shocking to see. Not that this is a terribly rough road, but I just never would have thought that I would see anything but a Jeep up here. And this camper got up here, and he's probably hiking the woods. Who knows? He may be gold prospecting. The first year I came through here, I found a prospector up here still. There's the camper right there, and not, like I said, just a pickup truck with a big heavy camper on the back. And this is the Kitty Mac mine, I believe. I may be mistaken. There's so many mines up here that I get them confused. And I think that is part of the cable system. And this is a stamp mill, one of the few that I've seen in the area. And the other ones that I've seen are nowhere near this good a condition. Basically what they do is there's a hopper up top where they load the silver and the gold ore, basically the rocks they pull out of the side of the mountain, out of the holes they dig in the mountain. They pull this ore out, and the gold and the silver is embedded in the rock. So what they have to do is feed the ore into the hopper above the stamp mill. It's basically a big funnel that they load the ore into, and it kind of rolls out the bottom into what is essentially an upside down piston engine. That's those rollers on the side are the pulleys that they pull, these belt driven pulleys, and they basically operate the crankcase at the top. The crank generates up and down motion on these pistons, and these pistons drive down onto the ore that's being fed through this mill. It's basically crushing the rock into something that's manageable, and of course you can see it's stamped Alice Chalmers, and I think the date on this thing was around 1880 something, if I remember correctly. I don't know, but it's amazing the condition that this thing is in after 140 years or so. But it's such an impressive machine, and I can't imagine the kind of money that they spent back then. This has to have been the equivalent of millions of dollars back then, not only to purchase the machine, but to actually ship it and build it and put it all together up here in the middle of, well, at the top of the Gulch. I guess this was a pretty good mining operation. And you can see the hoppers there. There's one on each side. There's a stamp mill on each side, and fed through different hoppers, and the ore is just fed in, and the wood's in actually pretty good shape. It's shocking. I would have thought this thing would have collapsed years ago, but I guess there's not. It's a pretty dry environment. When it's not snowing, it's pretty dry. But the condition of this and every other structure out here is just kind of shocking, because you don't really see this in the South where I'm from. Stuff decays and falls in after a few years of being abandoned. But this was a pretty interesting visit, and really stoked my interest more in mining history and what went on in this area. And this is my camp spot in Middleton. I've gotten pretty good at finding free camping all over America, but at least in the West. It's a little bit harder east of the Rockies to find free camping, but in the West it's not hard at all. You just got to know where to look. And now we're rolling up into Minnie Gulch, which is the sister gulch. Is probably less than a mile away from the campsite, probably half a mile even. But we're rolling up here, and it's just as beautiful, but the drop off from the ledge road is more impressive, as you can see right here. It's probably 80-foot, 100-foot drop maybe down to the creek bed. Pretty nerve-wracking if you're not accustomed to looking at sites like this with no guardrails. But the trees are beautiful up here, just like everywhere in September, October. Best time of year to go. And here's the old boarding house where we'll visit that on the way back down. This place is spectacular up here. I'm at the top of Minnie Gulch, and this may be Kitty Mac mine. I'm not really sure. I can't remember now. It's been a couple of 3 years since I've been up here, but anyway, spectacular place, and the best way to see it is on the back of a motorcycle with some knobby tires. I don't say this enough. Usually I'm talking to people that understand motorcycles, but I will pitch to my new audience, which may be adventurers, Skoolie folk, people that are looking for new adventures, living off-grid, whatever. I really want to pitch hard, if you haven't figured out, dual sport life. Having a motorcycle, not only are they one of the most fun motorcycles you can ride, they're pretty damn cheap too. We're not talking Harley Davidson $20,000, $30,000 motorcycle. You can get one of these motorcycles used for $1,500, which is why I love them. I go through motorcycles pretty quickly. I tend to abuse them, and this one in particular, I just abused the holy living hell out of, and still got 60,000 miles out of it. And when I turned loose of it, it was still running. Just needed more maintenance than I was willing to get. But there's no better way to see America within reason. I mean, it's hard to drive across country on one of the bikes that's this size, but certainly when you get to the place that you're going, there's nothing better than a motorcycle. As long as you have a few of the basic skills, a motorcycle's the way to go, especially one with knobby tires. And here we're coming up on the general store up in one of the other gulches. I can't remember the name of this gulch, but it's one of the other gulches. Livery stable and general store, I think, is what I remember seeing. But we're going to turn around here and go back down past the general store and head back down towards base camp. And base camp, having a close base camp nearby, nothing better. You can explore areas that I just kind of breezed through years ago on my big adventure bike. So if you can carry your bike with you, all the better. And this is the boarding house. That's what we passed on the way up. That's one of the premium attractions, because there's really nothing outside of Animas Fork. There's really nothing that's this size building anywhere near. And it's boarding house. I would imagine they had probably 6 or 7 rooms back in the day. I would imagine this structure dates from probably late 1800s, maybe early 1900s. It's in surprisingly good shape for a house that old. I'm sure it's been abandoned for 50, 60, 80 years. I had a similar property in my family that looked like this, and it had been abandoned about the same length of time, 50, 60, 70 years. But I imagine the shape of the structure is due to the fact that it's, other than snow, they don't get a lot of rain out here. There's not a lot of mold like there is in the south. That's the only guess that I can make. A lot of these things are still standing. And up at the top here, you can see the old tramway. You can see these cables here. Part of the tramway carrying ore up and down the mountain and men and materials. Just pretty spectacular. Can you imagine dangling from that cable 200 feet above the canyon? Hard to imagine. Speaking of tramways, this is one of the most magnificent tramways that I've seen the whole time I've been up here. This is above Sun King Mine, which is on the other side of the mountains. Spectacular. Looks like an amusement park. Maybe something you'd see in an amusement park. But that's just part of the cable system on the Sun King Mine, and I'm riding up here just beyond that cable box transfer station. I'm not sure, that maybe that's where they powered the cable. Join me next time as we watch insane jeepers almost roll off the side of a mountain, and I explore some old mine shafts on my motorcycle.